Hello and welcome. We begin the show with Rwanda. The country is exploring a deal with the US to host deported migrants. Rwanda's foreign minister has confirmed that talks with the Trump administration are in the early stages. These discussions come when the US president is pushing a hardline immigration agenda. The details of the plan are still unclear, but if it goes through, Rwanda could become the first African nation to sign such a deal with the US. President Trump has launched sweeping immigration crackdowns since returning to the White House. He has declared war on undocumented immigrants, called them the most despicable human beings, and even offered $1,000 to migrants who leave the US voluntarily. Rwanda, for its part, has been trying to position itself as a destination for expelled migrants. It claims refugees in the country are safe and given options to rebuild their lives.
For more than 30 years, the Rwandan government and its people have worked hard to make this country secure. There's a wide range of options. You can become a refugee, a migrant, a resident, even acquire Rwandan nationality, or return home if you wish. You can also legally immigrate to Europe, Canada, or elsewhere.
But human rights groups disagree. They point to Rwanda's poor human rights record and warn that deported migrants may not be adequately protected. This wouldn't be Rwanda's first migration deal with the West. It already works with the United Nations to host African refugees evacuated from Libya. It offers temporary shelter while they wait for resettlement. Rwanda has also teamed up with Denmark to explore new approaches to asylum and migration, and was even linked to a secret migration pact with Israel. In 2022, Rwanda signed a high-profile agreement with the UK. The goal was to accept asylum seekers who had entered Britain via third countries. But the British Supreme Court ruled the plan unlawful, saying Rwanda couldn't be considered a safe country. Despite the ruling, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's government pushed ahead. In 2023, new legislation was passed officially declaring Rwanda safe. Yet, after all the political drama, only 4 people voluntarily relocated. The plan collapsed in 2024 when the Labour Party came to power and scrapped the deal. By then, the UK had spent nearly $950 million on the programme, and over $386 million was paid directly to Rwanda. Kigali has refused to return the money. Rwanda's talks with the US come at a sensitive time. The country is also engaged in peace talks with neighboring DRC, and while Rwanda may be open to migrant deals, this one comes with a different kind of pressure. Trump has been taking a tougher line on countries that refuse to take back deported citizens. Just last month, Secretary of State Marco Rubio revoked entry for all South Sudanese nationals. It was after their government rejected one deportation. So what will Rwanda do next? Will it strike a new deal with America? Or will it hesitate, knowing the risks and political costs? Now, for more on this, we have with us on the show Nditya Bria Lionel, the editor and writer, Pan-African Review, and he is joining us live from Kigali in Rwanda. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what are the legal and diplomatic implications of Rwanda entering into a migrant deal with the US, especially in light of the failed UK agreement?
Well, one can assume that once an agreement is reached, most of the legal hurdles will be faced by the US. The US government will have to argue in its courts that the agreement is consistent with US law and international treaties to which the country is a party to. It will also have to convince the courts that it is safe to send asylum seekers to Rwanda, which will be the easiest path in my view, if the courts are not misled by international organizations that have a vested interest in keeping asylum seekers in the US. As you may know, many reports point to that Rwanda is one of the safest countries in Africa, and it is hosting many refugees, Burundian, Congolese, some from Libya, Sudan, and Tigray. On the diplomatic front, possible rapprochement between Rwanda and the US is good news, especially given the fact that the US is involved in trying to resolve the conflict in the neighboring country, Congo. And as many of us have pointed out, the US approach to previous administration was counterproductive. And we hope that this administration will continue to advocate dialogue rather than misguided sanctions against Rwanda.
Right. And why has Rwanda positioned itself as a preferred destination for deported migrants? And what are the domestic and international motivations behind this strategy?
Well, there are at least two reasons on the domestic front. One is that many of Rwanda's leaders have been refugees. They know what it is like to be rejected by the country you chose to flee to have no country to turn to. This experience informs their treatment of asylum seekers and refugees. And as one of the beneficiaries of this policy, I can attest to their commitment to ensuring that refugees are treated well within the means of the country. Second, many asylum seekers have skills that may not be attractive to an advanced economy like the US, but that are needed in a middle-income country like Rwanda that is seeking to industrialize. For these two reasons, at least, Rwanda welcomes asylum seekers. On the international stage, Rwanda has sought to provide solutions to global challenges, whether it's climate change, security and peacekeeping, or the migration crisis now. So in a sense, Rwanda has become an influential African voice on global, in international discussions on global challenges.
And what safeguards should be in place to ensure the rights and welfare of migrants relocated to Rwanda under such agreements, given past criticisms of similar deals?
Well, I can think of three. Ideally, migrants should be able to choose the country to which they wish to go, provided that country agrees to receive them. They should have access to free legal advice once they are in that country. They should also have the means to support themselves for a specified period of time. Other safeguards, of course, will depend on the content of the agreement the US will have with third countries, including Rwanda.
Right. Thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa.
Thank you for having me.